Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do kind of a comparison slash maybe let's see how much we can close the gap between this core Silver Sky in Roxy Pink. This is a 2023 model, and this 2023 SE Silver Sky. This one belongs to me. This one is currently on loan from my friends over at zZounds. Considering keeping it. It's a fantastic guitar. But this type of video has been done before, but I think where I want to kind of differentiate my video is how to close that gap, like I said. And I'm going to show you kind of what I did to this one to get it to feel a little bit more like this one. So let's get into it right now. Okay, so we all know the specs, but I'm going to kind of give you a quick rundown on what the differences are between the two. So I'm just going to hold them both up. Let's go ahead and start with the bodies. We have alder body and we have poplar. Overall, they feel like they weigh about the same. Tonally, I'm not really seeing much of a difference, especially in like resonance, but who knows. Another piece is the finish. We have kind of that poly finish versus they have their nitro cellulose finish. It might even be that nitro with a little bit of poly mixed in for extra durability, but it's a very thin finish. What else do we got? We have the 6-screw bridge trem system, and we have the 2-post trem system. Now, I don't have either of these set up to float. I don't really use the bar very much at all, so I just kind of left them as is. Let's go to the next piece, the major piece, the pickups. So we have the 635JMs, the 2023 model, and I'm pretty sure it hasn't really been changed at all since was it 2020 or late 2019 is when they made the switch over to kind of the more lower output pickups. So that's these guys right here, and then we have the 635JMS, so the import model, a little bit higher output than these guys. Okay, we have the same type of knobs here. We have the same type of switch here. I'm thinking that they're probably using the same material, although maybe these ones feel maybe a little bit more, they feel about the same. Probably different pots. I haven't opened them up, don't really feel like it, but they do feel like slightly different pots. These ones feel a little bit more smooth than these ones do. Let's go to the neck. So the neck woods are identical, or they're using the same material. So we have rosewood, but who knows on the grades, they might be slightly different grades. We have the small birds, although these ones are not as white looking as these ones. Not seeing any imperfections on this one. I know that some people have gotten the SE and there's like little gaps in here. The frets are taller on this one than on this one. So that's something to consider for sure when you're choosing one of these guitars. The back of the necks, like you can even see right here, this one's gloss, or kind of that nitro finish. This one is satin. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what I did on this one in just a little bit. Same neck plate. This one doesn't have the trem cavity plate. This one does. I do know that just by opening this one up, I believe the blocks are different. This one, yeah, you can even hopefully kind of see it. This one is definitely thicker than this one. Can't remember what material this one is, but let's go to, well, let's stay on the neck. So we have the 635JM R, so the Rosewood edition, and then we have the 635 JM neck carve on this one. So this one, it's slightly slimmer than this one. Both feel really nice though. This is a 7¼ inch radius. This is 8.5 inch radius. Another difference here, you can see just some slight differences. The nut is a little bit different. I believe this is a synthetic nut right here on the SE, and also just overall different shape. This one's a bone nut, more tuned to what you would see on kind of a S style guitar. Truss rod cavity, or the truss rod cover, is different on each of these. This one is recessed and kind of that aluminum material. This one is plastic and not recessed. Going to the tuners, so let's see if you can if we can get a good angle, but you probably know the specs anyway. We have the locking tuners on these ones with these kind of plastic buttons, non-locking tuners on the SE. So I believe I've went through all the differences. In the comment section, let me know if I missed anything. But let's go ahead and first we'll go through a bunch of sound demos, and then at the very end of the video, I'm going to kind of take you through what I did to this guitar to make it play more like this one. So let's roll into the sound clips. Okay, so now after listening to the sound clips, there, to me at least, when I'm playing them, there's some obvious differences in tone. I'll tell you in terms of feel, okay? I had this one set up by a luthier, and one thing I did to make sure that this video was doing them both justice, made sure neck relief was exactly the same on both of them, made sure that the action at the 12th fret was the same, also the pickup height, both set to PRS factory spec, okay? So what I'm hearing when I'm playing, and hopefully it's coming through to you all, these pickups are clearer than these ones. These ones are slightly darker. Now, what we know is these ones are a little bit higher output, like a little bit over 7K. These ones, I think they're like 6K or maybe slightly under, and they both use the same pickup for each pickup position. And just let the kind of the difference on where they are based on the configuration to give that tonal difference. So clearer sounding, maybe a little bit darker sounding, but overall they both have this silver sky quality to them. To me, that is kind of this like pushed mid-range and slightly natural compression, like when you hit the strings. And that, to me, it's a good thing. It just makes them ring out a little bit clearer, maybe sit in the mix a little bit better, handle distortion, overdrive really well. So that's kind of the first thing, okay? Now let's talk about what I did to the SE. So something I feel with this guitar is it feels maybe a little bit more premium. Overall, similar in terms of like weight. Neither of them are neck divey or anything. I think that maybe if the SE had a glossed neck, so the nitro neck, maybe they would feel pretty similar. But one thing you can see, obviously, this one has a thicker neck. The fretwork on both of them, great. But this one, when I first got it, it had, there was one spot on the 8th fret that had some fret sprout. So when I had this guitar set up, a couple things happened. Number one, they adjusted the nut. They made it, all the slots sit really low as they could be without buzzing, so it's really comfortable to play. They adjusted the action. They set the pickup height, but in the end, I actually went back and set the pickup height back to factory spec. But kind of what I think closes the gap is working on the neck. So what I had them do was roll the fretboard edges. I'm not sure if, like, maybe you can catch it right about there. You can see right about there. So the fretboard is rolled over. I made sure that they went through all the fret ends and rounded them off, made sure the fret sprout was all taken care of. But then something I did myself was I took, it was a Scotch-Brite pad, I think it was the blue one, and just ever so lightly went up and down the back of the neck, not to take off finish per se, but maybe to smooth it out. Like some of you might say satin it's smooth already, so why would you do that? Well, it did feel like unfinished, and I know that's kind of a common thing with the SEs. They feel unfinished on the back of the neck. But after playing and using the Scotch-Brite pad, like, it feels a lot more premium than it did before. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think that if you get the neck worked on by a really good luthier, making sure that the fretboard edges are rolled, the frets are rounded off nicely, you're going to be able to close the gap on the difference between these two. In terms of pickups, that could be compensated with your preferred amp and pedals. I think they both have the similar Silver Sky vibe to me, but the neck is kind of where it's where it all comes together, because that's where you are hitting the notes. Kind of last thing before I let you go, another thing you could do is replace the tuners. You could grab a set of these, the core locking tuners. Those are direct drop-in, except for, I think, these bushings. You might need to reuse these. And then you get to drop in the core model. That would be another thing that would kind of close the gap. So overall, I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a great guitar, especially for the money. And I do know that they've been having some QC issues, so just making sure that you don't get a dog, you get a good one, return them until you get the one for you, or something with very minimal work to be done. So hope this video helps you make a decision on whether to get the core model or to get the SE. They're both great. You can't go wrong. It's just how much you want to spend and how much work you want to put into getting this one to feel more like this one. But hope this helps, and we'll see you later.